Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Agarwal Industrial Corporation Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by Haim Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and then zero on your touchscreen phones. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I would now like to hand over the floor to Mr. Akun Goyal from Haim Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mamita. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the Agarwal Industrial Corporation Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call. Joining us on the call today are senior members of the management team, Mr. Lalit Agarwal, Whole-time Director, and Mr. Vipin Agarwal, Chief Financial Officer. We'll commence the call with the opening thoughts from the management team, post which we'll open the forum for Q&A session, where the management will be glad to respond to any queries that you may have. At this point, I would like to add that some of the statements made or discussed on the conference call today may be forward-looking in nature. The actual results may vary from these forward-looking statements. I would now like to hand over the call to Mr. Lalit Agarwal to commence by sharing his thoughts on the performance and strategic progress made by the company. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to everyone who has joined us today. We hope you and your families are staying safe and have been fully vaccinated. Let me start by giving you a brief overview of the company's business and will then hand over to Vipin to take you through the financials. We'll then be happy to take questions you have, if any. Agarwal Industrial Corporation Limited is one of India's largest integrated bitumen players. We develop wide range of innovative bitumen products that is used in construction, road and waterproofing solutions. Over the years, we have strengthened our business by developing our own shipping and logistics network. Today, our group owns and operates a fleet of over 650 bitumen and LPG tankers and 5 bulk vessels, which sets us apart in the bitumen industry. Our logistics division also operates as a separate revenue center to provide transportation, cargo handling and integrated logistics solutions to third-party clients. We, along with our subsidiary, have 6 manufacturing facilities located at Vadodara, Taloja in Navi Mumbai, Belgaum in Karnataka, Hyderabad, Guwahati and Kochi. We have 7 bulk storage terminals located at Hazira Port, Mumbai Port, Dighi Port, Haldia Port, Bangalore Port, Karwar and Vadodara. Coming to the first quarter of fiscal year 2021, as the country was getting back to normalcy post the first wave of COVID-19 pandemic, the intense second wave hit us in April and May. In this backdrop, I believe that our team has displayed tremendous agility to deliver resilient performance during the first quarter of FY 2021. We reported 177% growth in revenue with 277% improvement in profit. This is phenomenal after a tax by comparing year-on-year figures. So before I hand over to Vipin, I would like to conclude that the demand trend continued to be favorable across infrastructure industry, which is quite exciting for us. Our customers understand and appreciate the company's execution abilities, which constantly results in AICL growing market share. We will continue to demonstrate profitable performance in long term through relentless focus on leveraging over 2 decades of experience in bitumen and logistics. I would request our CFO, Mr. Vipin Agarwal, to share his perspective on the financial performance for first quarter 22. Vipin, over to you. Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome on the call. I will briefly touch upon the key financial highlights of the company for the first quarter for fiscal year 2021. All comparisons are on a year-on basis and consolidated in nature. In Q1 FY22, our revenues have increased by 177% to rupees 409 crore. which came in despite several challenges on ground, as explained by Mr. Lalitji, with respect to second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. We have been working since the start of this pandemic in 2020, and of last year has shown that effort that we have put in, and the entire team which have contributed in the last year's performance. Even after the COVID hitting the entire country, the company have delivered a very good set of results in the last year and again in the first quarter of this year. The EBITDA improved by 182% to rupees 25.5 crore, translating to a margin of 6.25%, an expansion of 11 basis points. Profit after tax stood at 15.07 crore, higher by 277%, which was supported by overall high performance across business verticals. That concludes my opening remarks, and I would now request moderator to open the forum for questions from the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your turn to ask the question. If you would like to withdraw your request, you may do so by pressing star and 1 again. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. So our first question from Mr. Hitanshu Bhatia. He's an individual investor. Please go ahead, sir. Mr. Bhatia, please go ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for taking my question, and congratulations on a great set of numbers. My first question would be with regards to, we are planning to expand our Taloja unit from 280 meter ton to 2000. So could you please give us a breakup of how would we go about from our own cash accruals, or would there be any debt to be taken ahead? Am I audible?
Thank you so much. We had plot number 37 in Taloja unit firstly, and last year we have taken over the adjoining plot number 36, and that is an addition to the fixed assets of the company, wherein we are putting up new bulk storage facility of about 3,500 metric tons, and all this will be funded from the internal accruals of the company. We are not taking any external debt as of now for this setting up the new terminal in Taloja.
Okay, so if please correct me if I'm wrong, but our cash flow from operations this year and our total cash in hand would be anywhere around, I think, 350 crores. Am I right?
Sorry?
What would be the cash in hand of a company till the quarter end?
The company is having a good set of liquidity in its hand. So, and the cost of the project in Taloja is about, say, 10, not even 10 crore rupees. The company is having internal approvals to the tune of that amount.
Okay, sir. So if I'm not wrong, I think the cash flow from operations this year was, I think, 45 crores. And the cash in hand would be anywhere around between 45 to 100 crores?
Yeah, we have cash in hand.
Okay, sir. And my next question would be, I think, sir, with regards to the capex that the government is going on for the road building and infrastructure on and all. So what would be the impact on our taking the market share and specifically the demand for bitumen as compared to concrete in the roads? So if you could just give the breakup of how would it impact percent-wise, if you could just please give a breakup, sir.
Thank you for this question, and it's a very good question that you have highlighted this time. See, the concretization that you are talking about, that has been a past now. I think 4-5 years back there was this concept by the NHAI wherein they were focusing on the concretization of the NHAI roads, but now that is the past. Now all the roads, all the new roads tenders that have come up, it is all bitumen making roads. There is no concretization. And earlier tenders which were also awarded for concrete, they are all converted into bitumen now. First thing. And bitumen production in India is by the PSU is limited to 5.5 million tons only, wherein the total demand of the product in India is about 7.5 million tons. So the deficit of 2.4 million tons is being contributed by the imports only. And going forward, next if you have to consider next 5 years or even 10 years, all the deficit between the production and demand that is going to be there, it can be only fulfilled by imports. There is no other possibility of any PSUs building up more production facilities in India. And moreover, existing facilities are also converted into coker. So the product available even at the PSU ends is lesser by 5 million tons.
Okay, sir. So that is really heartening to know, sir. And I think we are the largest importers of bitumen in the entire country.
Yeah, we are the largest bitumen for last, I think, few years now. And going ahead, we hope to keep the same pace that we are in.
Thank you. That's really heartening to know, sir. And if I could just squeeze one last question in, sir. Sorry for taking much of your time. So if you could just give a outlook on the transportation segment, and along with the Agarwal in Translink Private Limited that will be taken into the entire subsidiary under our wing. So what is the profitability numbers of the subsidiary? And sir, how is it performing? Any outputs if you could give on that?
The logistics, we have two verticals in logistics now. One is the ship chartering business and one is the logistics of tankers that we have, bitumen and LPG. We have this Agarwal Translink that we have acquired as a subsidiary. It will benefit in the long term because we will be utilizing the same logistics as an integral part of the company now. So earlier we had say about few 200 tankers in the company was on the logistics business. Now we'll be having about 350 tankers in this company.
Any bottom line numbers of the company, sir, please if you would share.
Logistics profit will be increasing say about by 12-14%.
Okay.
And coming back to the ship chartering business, we have been growing, and the first quarter, the revenue of the ship chartering was about 27.60 crore rupees, and profit on the same was about 7.90 crores.
Thank you, sir. And sir, with regards to the windmill segment, there's been a constant decline in the windmill segment. So what would be our outlook on that, sir? And are we planning to get away with the windmill segment, or are we trying to resurrect it, or how do we see it, sir?
We are not trying to do any additional activities in the windmill. We are trying to keep it as the way it has been.
Okay, so because it is constantly on a decline, so
yeah, the government rates have gone down actually for the procurement of the electricity.
So do you see any changes or any resurrection in the segment by the government giving any impetus or something from our side?
No, nothing as of now. Windmill, there is absolutely nothing to be much to be discussed on that.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot for answering my questions, sir. All the best.
Thank you so much.
So the next question from Mr. Abhishek Sharda. He's also an individual investor. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. First of all, congratulations for great set of numbers.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sir. So first question, sir, we claim that we are India's largest private sector bitumen company. So I just want to know what kind of market share do we have in bitumen industry in India? And what is the market share of like public sector in bitumen industry, and what is the market share of private sector in bitumen industry?
Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. Firstly, the India's market demand for 2021, it was standing at about between 7 to 7.5 million tons.
Okay.
Of this, about 5 million tons was being produced by PSU, and about 2.4 million tons has been imported.
Okay.
By various players, and we are having a market share of about 18% of this imported product in India.
So out of 2.4 million ton that is imported, we have a market share of 18% out of that 2.4 million ton, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Fine. And another thing, sir, that I want to know, like you mentioned that the company serves 5 different nations, right? So I would like
shipping, yes.
Yeah, shipping. So what is our revenue percentage coming from exports?
There is absolutely no export by the company.
Okay.
The segment that we are in, I think bitumen can be only imported in India. It cannot be exported.
Can be imported. Okay. So basically, we serve 5 countries. That is from shipping. That ship.
Yeah. The shipping business is doing chartering for various countries.
Okay.
Apart from India, we are doing for third parties across the globe.
Okay, sir. And sir, if you can provide some revenue and operating margin guidance for next year, FY22.
The entire year, you mean to say?
FY22, yes, sir.
It will be too early to give you any figures on that. But if you consider the first quarter, I think the shipping business would continue to give about 30% on the bottom.
Shipping business.
Yeah.
Okay. And about that.
The company's plan is well planned and equipped to maintain or even increase the profitability as from the last year to 2020. 21.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Fine.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Mr. Saurabh Garg. He's also an individual investor. Please go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I have a question regarding in March quarter, we have a turnover of 426 crores. However, in June, we have a turnover of 364. So is there any specific reason why we have a fall in revenue? Similarly, also profits, it was 11 crores. Now it is 7 crores in this quarter.
You cannot see, again, I'll just compare. You cannot compare a Q4 result with Q1 result. You can compare with quarter on quarter, but Q4 is the quarter which gives the highest revenues and the profitability to the company. It's the peak season for the bitumen construction area. To compare Q4 with Q1, it would not be justified.
Okay.
So if you compare Q1 on Q1, I think the results are very good.
Yeah, that's I think or more than double.
Yes. I hope you are satisfied with the answer.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So our next question from Mr. Parshul Kothare from Agarwal Industrial Corporation. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, I think there is some mistake. I am an individual investor. Okay. So my question is, as far as your shipping business is concerned, we have been just acquiring FY 2019, and we have a lockdown situation where shipping was not available, or shipping was not available for other companies. So do you think that we got the benefit of this as majority of the players were not able to import, and we do have this facility helped us? And going forward, I think once this issue of logistics is resolved, do you think that there would be a lower revenue projection or a highly competitive business that becomes after this issue is resolved?
Thank you for the question. Firstly, I would like to highlight, in the pandemic, there has been only opportunities for people who have been on the field working. If you are sitting at home, there will be no one to help you, firstly. And this logistics is not the seasonal business where other players are not working and you got an advantage. We have our own set of storage facilities across the Indian ports, and we are having our own vessels to cater the demand of for transporting this product into India and then supplying it to our end users. So it's not only the pandemic that other people were not working that we got an advantage over it, but it has been because the company has been growing since last few years. We have our own set of customers who we are fulfilling their demands. In fact, if you have to consider the last year's lockdown period, there were vessels that had to wait for about 14 days at a particular port due to restrictions at the port. In fact, we have lost opportunities of earning higher in the last year.
All right. And the importing of bitumen is cheap compared to acquisition from Indian companies?
Yeah, but of course, when you're importing, there is a price benefit from what you can take from an Indian manufacturer or any PSU company.
Okay, so basically it's if you buy from Indian company, it's more cheap, right?
No. If you're importing, it is cheaper. If it's not cheaper in importing, there cannot be increase in imports.
Okay. That's it from my side. If there is any question, I will just come in queue again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Soumya Suralia, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir, I would like you to elaborate on your chartering services, the shipping services of your company, and your future plan regarding the same.
Sorry, can you just repeat again once, please?
Okay, sir, I would like you to elaborate me on the chartering services of your company and your future plans regarding the same.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Firstly, I'll like to inform you that the company has 5 vessels in its subsidiary now in UAE, and the 5th one we have taken over in June.
Okay.
And all the 5 vessels are running chartering for third party, and all are doing voyage chartering on a voyage basis to Indian ports as of now.
Okay.
And going forward also, I think the company plans to add some 2 or 3 vessels more, so that they can help us in increasing our revenues in UAE, giving us a good set of numbers at the bottom.
Okay, sir, that information was very useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question from Mr. Parshal Kothare, an individual investor. Please go ahead, sir.
If I just go through, from 2014 till today, the operating margins have been always hovering between 7 to 9%. So, do you think that there is any upward trajectory possible, or I think now being more on a service-oriented business rather than a pure bitumen player, I think we are more on a service-oriented. So, do you think that we are going to enter in a constant margin trajectory, or it would be volatile one?
Thank you for the question. Firstly, I would like to check on the numbers of the other companies that are there in a similar line. If you consider other people who are there in this line, their margins are even lesser. But we have, however, tried and we are able to maintain our operating profit margin at a certain level, even after, sometimes the total fall in prices of the commodity and the higher volatility of fluctuation even in the dollar, if you have to say. So even after all these things, the company is able to maintain its profit at a certain level. That is a good sign if you have to compare the company with any other player who is in the similar line.
Okay, but actually there is no other company we can compare. So that
exactly, because there is no other company in India which has the backward or forward integration that this company is having, and that is the USP of our company.
Exactly. So that was my main reason to ask this question. Because now, because the way we are integrated, the way the service we are providing, from directly from the refining companies to the end customers, I think we are more on a service-oriented side. So that was the reason. Are we able to decrease the volatility of the bitumen and just going forward, we are not going to face, or the margins are going to remain in this range. So what's the outlook for that? That's the only thing.
No, margins, I think it is always increasing also. And if you see compared last year with the first quarter, I think it is on the improving side. It is on the higher side. It has not gone down. And with the shipping business running with the 5 vessels now, I think it will add to a little bit of percentage on the higher side.
And regarding your debtors days, so we have seen a constant improvement on that front. So I think we are going to see the same trajectory going forward, right? At least not, if not, not decrease in there, but not increase also, right?
Yes. It's supposed to be declining.
Oh, it's supposed to be declining. Oh, that would be great to hear, yeah. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Mr. Sahil Chopra from KIFS Trade Capital. Please go ahead, sir. Mr. Chopra, please go ahead with your question, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. So my first question is about your EBITDA margin. So how company has able to maintain or stabilize its EBITDA margin despite of like fluctuating crude oil prices in the past few years? Any specific strategy you are adopting for that?
There was fluctuation if you have to consider only in the month of April last year.
Mm-hmm.
The major fluctuation for when the pandemic had started. After that, I think it has been constantly on a rising mode. That is one of the reasons that we are able to achieve higher turnover with the good profitability. And moreover, the company has a policy of maintaining its inventory at a particular level, whereby even if there is a increase or decrease in the commodity, we are able to maintain profit or loss percent in that manner, wherein the company is not incurring a huge loss if the commodity prices are crashing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an inventory of hardly 15 days inventory in our hand.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a commodity crash, or if we are seeing the market going down, the company is trying to sell the inventory that it is having in its hand and buy the inventory at the lower cost, which is coming in the next fortnight.
Mm-hmm.
That is how inventory management is being monitored here in the office.
Okay. And my second question is related to your latest acquisition of Agarwal TransLink. So what is the cost of acquisition?
One second. Just hold on. I'll give you the exact figure. Just a minute, please.
Mm-hmm.
The acquisition of this company is about 12.50 crore rupees.
Okay. And what was the FY21 sales and EBITDA and PAT?
The FY21 you say?
Yeah, latest year.
Can we come back to you in, say, 5 minutes? Till then we can take another question. I will be ready with the details of the other company till then.
Sure.
Please, I'm sorry for that.
It's okay. Can I ask the next question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So my next question is related to your 2016 issue of convertible warrants. So can you give me more details about that issue? Who were the entities involved in that, and especially that Garnet International? Who was that?
Yeah, Garnet was given about 10 lakh shares.
Well, it was related. So how much money the company has paid you?
That also for you once. It was your one 5 years back. I was on the current year.
Sorry?
Just 2 minutes. I'll give you the drinks. We had given 15 lakhs warrant at rupees of at 140 rupees each
Okay.
to Garnet and Avayana Advisors LLP.
Why they have like exited so within short period of time? What is the reason?
They book their profit in because after lock-in period they are free to sell their shares, I guess.
That was a related entity or it was?
No, they are not related entity at all to the company.
Hmm.
Garnet is a big investor. I think we should be knowing that.
Yeah. But normally, whenever any company buy like more than 10%, they usually held it for 10 years or 15 years like that. But they exited within 1 to 3 years.
Maybe. See, it is all there at their discretion. So we cannot keep anyone in the if they don't want to stay.
Okay. My next question is related to the current situation around this availability of containers with respect to your shipping business. Whether that has
we are into bulk. Containers are required for packed drums, but we are bulk. We have no problems of availability of any kind of product or the ships for transporting. Absolutely no problem.
Okay. And what is the sustainable tax rate going forward?
Sorry?
Sustainable tax rate going ahead.
Sustainable tax rate?
Yeah, tax rate.
Tax rate, you mean to say the government taxes?
Yeah.
The government taxes, I think the lower the taxes, that would help the company to make more profit.
For the company, what kind of tax rate you are estimating going ahead? 20%, 25%? Because last year it was around 18% only. So corporate tax rate currently is around 25%. Why there is that difference? Is it because
I think we should not comment on the taxes of the government.
Mm-hmm. No. I just want to take an idea that for our modeling purpose, what kind of tax rate we put. Is it
I think a 15% tax should be a reasonable amount of taxes, and wherein I think company can work more and to earn more and make more profit.
You want to say 15% tax rate?
15, yeah.
Okay. And what is the current shareholding? I think company has issued some warrants to the promoters, and they have converted recently. So what is the currently as of date? What is the shareholding of the promoters?
We are having about 64% now.
Now 64.
61.4% with the promoters.
61.4.
Yes. It was 59.33. It has increased to 61.40 now.
Okay. And what is the future, sales and EBITDA margin guidance?
So I think we should maintain the last year's EBITDA margins for FY22 as well, or even higher.
Okay. And what about top line?
It's too early to say, but if you have to consider the first quarter's result, I think we should do 20% higher than what we did last year.
For the rest of the year.
But I cannot comment on that. That is actually a problem.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Mr. Pavan Kumar from Ratnatraya Capital. Please go ahead, sir.
Sir, what is the kind of growth rate that the bitumen industry is currently growing at, and what is sorry, but I got dropped out of the call previously when you were giving the split between bitumen and concrete demand as on 2021? What is the kind of split, and do we expect any kind of shift in split to bitumen side?
Can you come back again, please?
Bitumen and concrete. Yeah, but what is the split between bitumen and concrete? And
I think, as I explained earlier also, I think you were there on the call or not, the concretization tenders are the past now. There is no concretization of any of the new roads. It's all bitumen.
Okay. So the 7.5 million tons, that is the only market right now?
The market size as of now is about 7.5 million tons, which is to grow at about to 10 million tons in 2026, by 2026.
By 2026, this will be 10 million tons. Okay.
Yes, to go to 10 million tons.
Okay. And when we are talking about importing bitumen, so our value addition here is logistics and transport, or we have a manufacturing unit. So what is the kind of value addition that we do before we?
We are doing both. We have import terminals wherein we have 6 plants, which is catering across various Indian states, and we are manufacturing other bituminous like emulsion, CRMB, PMB, other industrial grades, primers, waterproofing compounds. All those things, all those are the products we are manufacturing that are required in different industries. Even in road construction, we require harder grade for mastic. And the imports that a company is doing is one of the finished products.
Okay. So you are
not only just raw material and supplying additives. The product that is being imported is one of the finished products that is required in building of the roads.
Okay, so the product that is being imported is the finished product that is used in the...
One of the finished products. It can be further modified, but it is not a basic raw material that can be used, that cannot be used directly in the road.
Okay, so we split it into different application products and then we sell it to the final customer, is it?
Yes, as per requirement of the different tenders by the contractors.
Okay. And how do we look at profitability basically, sir, in the sense last year, since you have said you have sold around maybe 20% of the 2.5 million tons that was imported. So do we actually look at it from EBITDA per ton perspective, or do we try to maintain an EBITDA margin on the conversion that we take? So
we try to maintain both. But the profit margin that you cannot ascertain now. The profit can be only ascertained once you are compiling all the numbers at the end of the year. But we have a policy of say when we are importing a product, we sell product only after a certain margin that the company has to maintain. So and over and above whatever we try to sell even at a higher rate. The company is not selling a product beyond a certain percentage when we.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello. I missed the last line because of the bad line.
No problem.
Can you repeat?
Whenever we are importing any product, we are selling a product only after keeping a particular margin to the company.
Okay. Is that an absolute margin or a percentage margin, sir?
More or less a percentage type margin, wherein suppose our EBITDA margin is about 7%. So whatever product we are importing, we try to keep the margin of about 7% and then sell the product in the market.
Okay. I got that. And so going forward over the medium term, so are we looking at growing at say 15-20%, or how does that work, at least on the top line?
We have been growing at 15-20% year on year.
Okay. And do the commodity prices, will they affect the top line growth over the period?
So coming for FY22, I don't think so. There would be a much decrease or increase in the commodity prices. So it should not be affecting the top line of the company.
Okay.
And unless there is a major crash down like what happened in April last year or March last year in 20. where the crude has got to say -$37 USD per barrel.
Mm-hmm.
If that level comes, then maybe, but I don't see that level coming up any time in future, I guess.
Okay. And inventory side, is there a fixed policy of 15 days or we keep?
No, in a season when we have about 8 months season in a year, wherein we are selling about 40 to 50,000 tons in a month, and the capacity that we are having, about 30,000 tons storage capacity that we are having. We have inventory. The capacity of holding inventory is about 15 to 17 days.
Okay. So
that is how the level of inventory has come derived.
Okay. Our storage capacity is, sir?
About 30,000 tons.
30,000 tons.
Yeah, across the various ports and the terminals that we are having, storage facilities that we are having.
Okay. Okay. And you said actually imports were at a slight discount to the local manufacturers. So what might be the range of that particular discount?
Discount is ranging. It has a variance. I cannot tell you exact, but see, whenever if you see an import is rising, it is because, but obviously it is because in the prices of the local market that as compared to import it will be higher. Then only the imports will increase.
Okay.
There is a good set of difference between what is being produced by PSU and the import product.
Okay, but the imports are...
We are supplying to PSUs as well.
Oh, you are supplying to PSUs as well?
Yes.
Okay. And you participate in those tenders, right?
Yeah. Whatever tenders are being quoted by the PSUs, we participate in that. And as of now, we are having tenders with 2 of the PSUs.
Okay. And lastly, can you give us an outline of CapExes that are expected in FY22, FY23 in all your 3 divisions?
See, FY22, as of now, we don't have much apart from the Taloja terminal that is already being built. And maybe if the company is having some more opportunities of, say, acquiring additional vessels which will help us in top line and bottom line, so maybe company will go and acquire one more vessel or anything that will help the company build up their top line and bottom line. It's not about getting opportunities.
And vessels? Okay. Vessels might cost how much, sir, each vessel?
Each vessel, the latest vessel that is being added to the fleet is about $7.5 million USD.
Okay.
The biggest vessel of the company.
Okay. $7.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would be our present capacity utilization?
For the vessels, it is 100%.
No, not of the vessels, but of our bitumen facility, manufacturing facility.
Manufacturing facilities, we are operating now in the monsoons about 20-25%, but in the season we are able to utilize the facilities about 40 to 50%.
Okay.
Because as I said, the product that is being imported is a finished product. So it's no point for you to transport that product from an import location to your unit first and then sell it to your client directly, to your clients. We sell the product directly from the import location.
Okay. Fine, sir. Okay. I will get back in the...
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Mr. Parshal Kothare, individual investor. Please go ahead, sir.
So what kind of revenue can one expect if a company starts, working on full capacity? As you mentioned that current it's 50%.
Okay. Can you repeat your question again, please, one?
So let's say if on all front, if a company starts, managing utilization of 100% of capacity, then what kind of revenue one can expect? So maybe let's say in March 2021, we did around 450 crore on the top line.
Yes.
And as far as the petroleum segment is concerned, it was around 413 crore. So as you mentioned that it's around 50% as of now in normalized quarters. So can we expect it to be doubled if we are able to gain more market share?
See, suppose if you are utilizing your the manufacturing unit, and for that you have to buy a raw material which is available at a finished product price in the international market. Suppose I give you a grade A, which is raw material for manufacturing any product in your plant, but when you are importing and the product that you are going to sell from your plant is product B, if the product available at the international market at the same price of A, then why will you produce the product in your plant? That is one of the reasons that we are utilizing the plant on a 100% basis, where if we are importing that product and selling from the import location, we will earn higher revenues and higher profitability.
Okay.
At quality taken by the company as and when the product requirement is there.
Got it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Mr. Shubham Jain. He's also an individual investor. Please go ahead, sir. Mr. Jain, please go ahead with your question, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, can you comment on raw material prices of bitumen? It may be rise in near future 2 or 3 quarter, or it's constant?
Sorry.
Sir, I want to know, what do you think about raw material prices of bitumen? It may be rise near.
So I think the level that the current levels, I think it should stay at these levels. I think for FY22, maybe a 5-10% up or down, but should stay at these levels.
And sir, what about the crude oil prices? Are you saying it may be a hike on near term, so it will affect our commodity prices related to bitumen?
Can you repeat again once, please?
Sir, what about the crude oil prices? Do you think it will rise in near term?
It will remain at the current levels that they are.
Exactly, sir.
There is no reason for it to fall or to rise beyond a particular level.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Crude price should stay stable.
Hello. Sorry, sir. Pardon.
I'm saying crude price should stay stable for the current financial year. There is no reason for it to go up or go down.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Mr. Hitanshu Bhatia, individual investor. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question again. So my question was regarding that one of an established ethanol producing company has also now started and given under patent to convert the crude lignin into biobitumen. So and which could potentially, as per what they say, they could replace the fossil-based bitumen and offer a much eco-friendly green bitumen. So, sir, how big a threat can we see this in a long term, that if they can take away some of our market share from our bitumen products and biobituminous products? So is there any counter to this? Are we also planning to get into a greenfield biobitumen kind of a thing, or how do we see it ahead, sir?
Thank you for the question, but as far as our information is going, we have not of any biobitumen that is coming up very soon.
So if I may take the name, Praj Industries has given it under patent, and they are planning to convert from the ethanol plant that they are producing. Lignin is one of the co-products from which they second generation ethanol plant, and from that they are planning to make biobitumen products, and they are claiming that it could replace the fossil-based bitumen, and they've sent it under patents. So could it end up?
I think they are only technology providers. Even for the ethanol plants, they have that the technology that they are providing, I think it is not 100% on what the orders that they are having as of now. they are giving technology for producing ethanol. But as far as bio-bitumen, I don't think another 5-10 years there is anything I can think of.
Okay, sir. And is there any, in general also, is there any prospects for bio-bitumen going ahead rather than fossil bitumen? Because bitumen itself has
I don't think so there is any subsidy for bitumen. They tried concretization few years back, but I think they failed.
Yeah.
Bitumen, and even if you see across the world, I think bitumen roads are the preferred mode for building any kind of a road. There is no deviation from making any kind of a road other than bitumen. Yes, there can be some mixing of bitumen with some other additives, maybe, to make a road, but bitumen component will always remain.
No, so what my question was that bitumen will always remain fossil based and not some bio related which could come out from the
as far as my information goes, I have not heard of any bio bitumen that we.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next question from Mr. Kishan Mohindra, individual investor. Please go ahead, sir.
Hi, sir. So my first question is, so the imports that you do is a finished product that I understood, but the domestic procurement that you do, so in that bitumen, do you do value addition for all the bitumen that you procure from these OMCs? Hello?
I think your voice was breaking. Can you just repeat the question again once?
Yeah, sure. So the imports that you do, you said that they are totally finished products. Okay, so the import of bitumen. But the domestic bitumen that you procure, so you do value addition in all of the domestic bitumen. Is that correct, my understanding?
No, see, there is a little bit of difference. As of now, we try to focus entirely on the import product because the price difference between local PSU product and the import product, it's quite high. So whatever product that we are manufacturing at our plant, it's all imported products. Locally we are buying, but it's very small percentage of the total required quantities for manufacturing any other grades or any other product, bituminous product. It's all from the import product that we are manufacturing other grades or any other bituminous product.
Okay, but why should the domestic prices be higher? I mean, don't the refineries sell it at import parity prices?
That I think you need to check with the PSUs because their call of selling at a particular discount or particular MRP or whatever prices is.
This basically pertains to the gross refinery margin. So bitumen is a byproduct for refineries. It's not a main product for refineries. Basically, if you look at the composition of refinery production, 65% production is on account of diesel. The bitumen is a residue product. So oil companies' priority is not a bitumen production if you look at per se. So that is the reason most of the domestic refineries are going on for the coker plant. Fed coke plants have been put up by most of the major refineries, thereby limiting the productions of bitumen. So bitumen production capacity in last 5 years more or less remains at the 5.5 million as Mr. Vipin has said.
Yeah. Okay, understood. But if you were to buy, I mean, can you share the pricing terms at which these guys are willing to sell the bitumen to you?
Pricing? You limited the prices?
Yeah, at what pricing is bitumen, let's say, sold from domestic refinery? Because let's say...
we are selling at about, say, about 5 to 6 rupees discount from the prices of the PSUs.
Okay, and the product that you sell, I mean, what is the end use apart from roads? I mean, if you can give a percentage allocation, or is it how
90% goes into road construction only, 90%. Because that is the major part bitumen is being used. If you have to compare the volume, the amount, the number of, in metric tons, it is more than 90% because 90% of the bitumen goes into road construction. Other industries are there, but the component required is not that high in metric tons.
Okay. So if 90% goes in road end use, then your processes, the value addition that you do should be straightforward, is it? I mean, the finished good that you buy.
Even if you are manufacturing any product in the manufacturing unit, that will also go into road construction only. It will be in a different form.
Okay.
The emulsions are required by road contractors. There is PMB, there is CRMB. For mastic, they require 1020. So all those are different forms of bitumen products only. This goes into road construction.
Understood. And any other competitors apart from OMC? I mean,
even OMC, I don't think so is a competition to us, because OMC is only producing bitumen, maybe, but they don't have any other verticals to even sell that product or maybe transport that product. They are dependent on any third party. But wherein if you have to compare our company, we are not dependent on any of the third parties for logistics or for storing our product or to bring our product or even to sell our product.
Okay. And last question from my end, I don't know if you have tackled this already. What is your debt plan, I mean, going forward, reduction plan, and what was the debt at the end of June quarter?
And I think last year debt was about 140 odd crore rupees. 140.
Correct.
Yeah, and going forward, I think if you have to compare the company's financials by 2019, I think if the vessels were not added to the fleet of the company, I think the company would have been debt free by now.
Okay. And June quarter, end of June, what was the debt?
End of June, it was slightly less. One second, I'll give you this. It's lesser by about 125 or 128, I guess.
Okay, so 25 20 crores of debt.
Yeah, there has been a reduction of about 15-17 crore rupees.
15-17. Yeah. Okay, that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking the last question now, and it comes from Mr. Parshul Kothare, individual investor. Please go ahead, sir.
So, thank you for the opportunity again. So the question is, can we expect the company to be debt free in by next 1 year, or let's say 1 year and a half? Because even though we don't need to have more capex requirement, because as we are utilizing at around 50%, can we expect that?
See, one thing I would like to highlight here is the company can go debt free if the company is not planning to add any capex. If the company is getting any opportunities wherein it will help in the bottom line and in the top line, maybe we may not go debt free, but as of now, the company is having only facilities for working capital. We don't have any other major debt in the company as a somewhat of a term loan that impacts, or that is a debt to the company. It's only a major portion of the debt is for the working capital itself. I think about 75-80% is for working capital. If I count the working capital requirement of the company, I think the company is debt free, even now.
Oh, okay. And the last question, can we expect the same conference call in every quarter or every half year? So what would be that?
Maybe in the third or the fourth quarter, but second quarter, I think maybe it's the first time we have done something like this. Maybe we can, down the line, we may plan to do such a similar event.
Yeah, please do it. It was really helpful to understand the company. And
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so many questions. It is also good for us.
Yeah. Thanks.
We are also prepared to, with all the numbers next time, even more focus on all the numbers that can be gathered, and we should be able to give you numbers more frequently or instantly than we can give now.
Yeah, and in fact, you can include in investor presentation also, which is missing at this point.
I think we already uploaded that on the website, on the BSE, NSE. All the figures are there on the NSE, BSE.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to hand over the floor to Mr. Lalit Agarwal, MD of Agarwal Industrial Corporation Limited, for closing comments. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much for all the participants for joining the call. I hope we have been able to satisfactorily respond to all your questions. It's a pleasure to interact with you and get your queries addressed to your satisfaction. If you have any more questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you once again, and we look forward to connecting with you, preferably in the third and fourth quarter of the year. We hope you and your family and your team members and colleagues remain safe in this challenging period. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Thank you from Agarwal Industrial Corporation Limited. We value relationships. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of HIM Securities Limited, I thank AICL team for giving us a detailed insight on the results and the time they spent on this call. I would also like to thank all the participants for joining this call. It was an extremely fruitful discussion. Thank you all for being on the call. Now, I would like to hand over to the moderator.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of HAME Securities Limited, this concludes the conference call. Thank you for joining. You may all disconnect your lines now. Thank you and have a good evening, everyone.